Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This is a video for homework number 105. Please make sure that you post this on Google Classroom so you get credit for it. And this was our homework on standard deviation. So this is definitely a difficult one. But if you know the calculator, you should be okay with it. All right, here we go. Number 1, for each of the following data sets, use your calculator to help find the interquartile range and the population standard deviation. Show your calculation for the interquartile range and round order to non-integer values to the nearest tenth. All right, so remember, interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1, and I'll just show you how to do that in the calculator for the first one. So you want to press stat and then number 1, and that's going to get you to this list. Okay, let me show you right there. And then I put all these numbers already. So 4, 6, 8, 10, 15, 19, 22, 25 shows all the numbers. Stat calc 1. Okay, now it doesn't tell you, oh, actually, no, it does say population. So population, make sure the frequency list is clear. Population is this one right here. It's that lowercase sigma. Again, it looks kind of like the P for population. So nearest 10 is 7.3. So 29 goes to 7.3. And interquartile range, you simply keep that data in, scroll down, and you want Q3 minus Q1. So 20.5 minus 7 is 13.5. So that's how you could do it on the calculator. And show your calculation. Just show me this work, and I'm happy. All right, so for B, interquartile range is 3. Your population standard deviation is 1.6. Number 2, for the data set shown in the data plot below, which of the following is closest, so approximate, to its population standard deviation? So remember, that's the one that looks like this. So basically, you're just going to take all these dots, because everyone represents a number, and you're going to put them into stat 1 and just list all the numbers. Okay, that's probably the easiest. You can also do it this way, where, you know, number 3 has 1 dot, number 4 has 2 dots, 5 has 2. So you're doing like a frequency list, but just make sure that when you make this list and you go into stat calc 1, okay, that you have L2 right here, and that second 2 will get you the L2. Okay, that's the only way that it'll work for the standard deviation. It doesn't work for the variance, by the way. All right, so the population, after you calculate all that stuff, you should get 3.3. By the way, I don't think anything on this homework had variance. So just to remind you, variance is vars, okay? Variance is V, so vars is V. So V, you would go down to stats because that's the unit that you're in. And then you would choose either 3 or 4. And then you would either choose, let's try this again. So stat, oh, it's because I didn't figure it out. So then you would choose 3 or 4. And then from there, you would, don't forget, press the squared button. And yeah, it would give you an answer. So don't forget how to do the vars, even though it didn't ask for it. All right, number 3, what's the interquartile range? So interquartile range, that's going to be your Q3 minus your Q1. Q3 is this dot right here. Q1 is that dot right there. So it looks like it's 18 minus 6, which is 12, so that's choice 4. Which of the following best measures the average distance that a data value lies away from me? So anything that describes this, they're always talking about MAD or standard deviation. Remember, MAD is usually the one that's taught in 7th grade and 8th grade, and then standard deviation is usually the one that's for the region. So standard deviation it is. Number 5, which of the following data sets would have the largest standard deviation? So basically, you're putting all 4 of them into the calculator, guess and check. You want to be using population because it didn't just say want you to use like a couple of them. It didn't say just use 1 or 2 of the numbers. You're basically using all of them. So yeah, population, and that is choice 3. All right, to the back, number 6, we are going to revisit our survey of households that have video-enabled devices. Recall that 2 surveys were done, each with 30 participants. The first one, A, was random. Second, B, was online. And dot plots. Okay, so you have your 2 dot plots. So A, enter the data into your calculator, and we're going to calculate the interquartile range, which again is Q3 minus Q1. By the way, interquartile range is always used for skewed data. So just remember that, skewed data. Standard deviation of both, round all to the nearest tenth. And it says sample. Okay, so we have, even though we're going to be using all of the numbers in our calculators, you have to use the sample because that's what it wants, because it's just a sample of, I guess, everyone in, you know, the whole entire world that was actually surveyed. Okay, so the mean, don't forget, Okay, that is your X bar. So just look for that in the calculator. That's 3.4 for survey A. And interquartile range is 4 minus 2, which is 2. And your sample is 2.3. Remember, each one of these dots represents a number. So each one of these dots, so put numbers into L1. Okay, and then you're going to press your stat calc. Stat calc 1, which is your 1var stats. Okay. For B, the mean was 6.4, but the interquartile range was 4 because it's 8 minus 4, and the sample standard deviation is 3.3. Which of these two survey data sets had the greatest variation? So the greatest variation in the data explained based on, okay. So survey B had the greatest variation in the data. It had the larger standard deviation. So standard deviation here is 3.3. Sample standard deviation here is 2.3. And that's because the numbers are more spread out. So here, your average was about right here. So you see a lot of numbers are close to the average, close to that mean. And here it's 6.4. So that's like around here. And you have a lot of numbers that are far away. So this is more spread out. And that's why your sample standard deviation is larger. That's why this one has the greater variation. All right. And the super duper tough question. This is definitely 11th grade, maybe even 12th grade question. How many of the 30 values in survey B fall within 1 standard deviation of the mean? And actually, the gentleman in the vegetable video actually did this for you. To do this calculation, add the standard deviation and subtract the standard deviation from the mean. Then count the number of value between the results of this addition and subtraction. Okay, so we're talking about B. We need the mean of 6.4, and we need the sample standard deviation of 3.3. So you take 6.4, and you take away 3.3. And then you take 6.4 and you add 3.3. And then this gives you basically the distance that you want, okay? So we added it here, we subtracted it here, okay? And it's all from the mean. And now we're gonna count the number or the dots that are in between 3.1 and 9.7. So here's 3, here is 9. I want the dots that are a little bit more than 3 and a little bit less than 9. So I'm only talking about these dots right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So if you were able to figure out 19 values, that is awesome. Again, all I did was take the mean, subtract the value from it, add the standard deviation, so, add the distance. I get my two numbers, and those two numbers, the distance, that's all the numbers that fall within 1 standard deviation of the mean. So again, your mean was 6.4. So 1 standard deviation this way, you're adding 3.3. 1 standard deviation this way, you're subtracting, and that gives you those 19 values. All right, hope this helps. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.